PlayStation believes in great games.
Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 22 of Cross Button VR, Beginner's Journey in PSVR2. A show for those who want to share in our new cameras enthusiasm for the world of VR. Now, I'm your host, Laurie, but for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, I just want to remind you that we are part of the Cross Players. So if you like what you hear, check out thecrossplayers.com for links to all of our content and our Discord. Now, it is an honour to be joined once again by two of the most rock and rolling influencers in the metaverse. It's Ben and Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
Rock
Now,
and roll.
stop right there, because I have an announcement to make. Or I have something I need to say.
I'm fired.
No. No, you wish. You wish. Now, the last few weeks, I have been, it's fair to say, teasing a certain game. And I just want to put on the record that it has not been any reflection on that game itself. It has been solely to wind Alex up. Solely for the point of winding Alex up. So I just want to make that point clear. And I also would like to state that Masternoid is fucking brilliant.
Yay!
Alex, you were right.
I'm always right.
And I'm not even, I don't even mind saying it on this one. I do not mind. I don't know why you didn't mention it really properly or make a big deal out of it. If only you
should have tried.
spoke up a little bit, we'd have maybe played it all sooner.
I've hardly spoken about it at all. Hardly a word ever. No messages, no videos, no tweets, no no. I don't know what else. Memos, faxes. I mean, is there any other method of communication I haven't tried to communicate?
You're taking a developer out for a drink, aren't you, next week?
No, I think so.
Taking out for drinks, yeah, bit dinner.
We're taking you out for a drink, Alex. Jesus Christ.
Come on, let's get into this now. Let's review this damn game, because we've all been playing it. As most of our Discord, I think we've managed to get on board with it. Oh God, it is. It is really
I'll
good.
just make a little announcement as well. Okay. I platinumed it today. It is now being played.
So we can come to, for once, we can have a review from one of us having actually finished and played the game and can have cohesive. Complete thoughts on a game. That makes a first for Cross Button VR. And
professionals.
What a game to make it. I just, for people that haven't been paying attention or haven't checked it out yet, it's really kind of stylish, kind of neon, kind of like almost like Tron, kind of like voxely type graphics. And you are like block breaker style game where you are, but the quirk is you've got a ray gun and you can direct the ball where you fire it using the ray gun, and you can shoot the ball back. So it's kind of like a sort of ping pong shooting block breaking type game, with lots of score chasing and special attacks and multi balls and things. So almost like a pinball as well. There's kind of a bit of a pinball element to it as well. And it is just so addictively fun to play. It has that puzzle, well, it's not really a puzzle game, but that sort of thing where you just get in the zone playing it and just so absorbed and focused, and time just slips away and you just crack away level after level.
But I'd almost say that see, when you do mention puzzle, and I've kind of had this back and forth with a couple of people now, like there is almost a puzzle element to it, like the further in that you get. And like if you're trying to go for those 3 stars, because you need to approach some of the levels in a completely different way to get the 3 stars. It's like it's not like there's one approach fits all for each of the levels. I've found it's like you need to be quite strategic, and if you get certain power ups, you might not want to use them, or you might not want to. You need to really think about how to build the score, and I think that's really intelligently done. And a lot of people have been like, "Oh, it's just your luck and what power up you get." I'm like, it's not actually, because you might think that in the early levels, and you get to some of the later levels, and you're like, "I could finish this with 4 balls and not get the score I need for 3 stars." Like you really start to think about it the further in you get there, and I think it's just so good. That's what kept me engaged with it.
It's very apparent to me that you are playing a different game to me when I see the scores you're getting. And I'm like, how the fuck is he getting scores like this? And like, I'll score like I played a level today where I didn't drop a single ball, and I got a trophy for not wasting a ball. I was like, oh yeah, go me! I'm going to have a good score on this. It was like 9,000, and then I saw it was like 30,000, and where I'm scoring 30,000, you get 300,000. I'm like, how? What is he doing? Like, how is he playing this game? And the video that you posted on our Twitter feed just is kind of the majestic. The skill here. You must be one of the best people in the world at this game. Frankly, it's just you are so good at
The
it.
elite.
Yeah, you are in the top tier.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I think I've I wouldn't say perfected it. I've maybe just been very persistent with it. I think it's maybe a good way of putting it.
You've treated it like an Elden Ring boss, and you've just gone and you've just perfected it. Because I think they're at the very. I think the three of us are probably at slightly different levels. Because I'm at the point where obviously I'm not dropping a ball, like I'm not losing any lives at any point. Ever, but at the same time I'll get to like 4 balls, the maximum, and I'm just aiming at them. I'm not like trying to get the balls anywhere. I'm just like, right, shoot that one, shoot that one, shoot that one. It's almost like quite hard to describe for people. So when you were describing, I'm not saying you did a terrible job of describing it, Alex, and it's your fault that we didn't play it. But
I mean, that is definitely the case.
Yeah, that is the case. But it is quite hard to imagine like a 3D kind of breakout Arkanoid, how does that work kind of thing, like with the aiming. I couldn't quite picture it. So it's yet again another one of those VR games that's like you have to play it. And I think with this one, it's such a reasonable price that if you are on the fence, or if you're listening or watching this and you're going, all right, well, I kind of trust these guys, I would say it is worth that little punt.
And what is the price been?
$11.99.
And there is a demo though, so people can take a punt for free. That's no problem. And on that 3D space thing, so just to try and make it a bit clearer, still, you're in a cube, and obviously the side facing you is open, and if the ball comes out of that, you kind of lose the ball, you lose a life. So you've got 5 sides of the cube, the inside sides of the cube, to bounce the ball off of, to then try and hit the blocks that are in the middle of this 3D space. So you're ricocheting the balls around, and as you say, you get as you progress through the level, as long as you don't die, you get a second ball and then a third ball, so it's like becomes like a pinball multi-ball type thing, and up to 4 balls, and then by that point it gets so speedy and frantic, and each time you get an extra ball, the camera zooms out and the music just goes up a notch and builds extra layers of it, and it's so freaking cool. The music in this game makes it. It's this kind of, how would you describe it, Ben? Because you're the musical kind of person here. But it's
I don't know, because there's a few different genres. Some of it is really chilled out, almost like jazzy, but then it just kicks in, and then suddenly a beat comes in the background. But
it kind of, for me, it feels like almost like an 80s synth. You can imagine it being the soundtrack to parts of Stranger Things. It has that kind of vibe to it, and it feels, in a weird way, stylistically, and the aesthetic is very Stranger Things. How it's that very kind of feels very 80s arcadey, like the sort of thing you can imagine the kids in Stranger Things playing, and the music of it. And that sounds strange. I don't want them to think, it's like Stranger Things, but it's just that kind of aesthetic and feel to it. It's very kind of retro. It just
feels like an arcade game, in the purest possible sense. I think the only downside I found with that sort of music that develops as you get more balls and stuff like that, if you ever go, I feel like it loses a bit of the energy. So if you've nearly cleared a level, but then you lose a ball and you're back down to 1 ball, it does take a bit of the tension away from it, because it goes back to like just being the basic level music, and then you're just like, oh, come on. Like, it almost becomes a slog towards the end when you're at that level. Obviously, Alex, I'm talking a foreign language to you because you've got 4 balls constantly, judging by your scores. But there's a couple of times like that where it's been a bit like, all right, I've just got 1 ball, I just need to get through this now. But as a like general rule, It's just fun. It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, Alex, this might have been before your time, but back in the Switch Island days, the Switch Island podcast,
came back.
There was a game called Ding Dong XL, which was a very, reasonably priced game, very simple game, but we all got completely wrapped up in it because it just ticked that box that pressed everyone's buttons, and it had the kind of the score chasing element to it, and it reminds me of that. How Like we're all competing against each other. Very simple game, but very expertly executed. And Alex, thank you for ramming it down our throats for weeks on end, because we finally listened.
I'm just glad
really
it was worth it, because I genuinely, like, when I started playing this game, I was like, this is brilliant. Like, it's just so, as you say, it's so simple, so addictive, so well done. And I think it's even like, it's just that very slight flick of the wrist to get the ball going in the right direction and all of it. And it's like, as you say about the music there, Ben, when you drop a ball, like, I've got to teach, if you drop a ball, you start again. Like, it's you don't if you lose a ball, you're like starting that level again, because there's no point. You know, at that point, I'm not hitting that score if I don't start again. Like, so you don't you just, and
I did wonder, because to get the platinum, you have to get 3 stars in every level, basically. Don't you? I've got 70% of the trophies at the moment, which is not bad for a week's work. But yeah, I can't. There's some of them I'm like, how the hell do you get 3 stars in this? I think I've got 2. I've got 2 or 3 in all of them. And I need to get, because basically, like kind of like a Mario game where you have to get X amount of stars to unlock the next world. I'm now at the stage where I need to get 3 stars on a few of them. Yeah. And I'm just like, it is tough. I'd like to like finish the game, but I can't envisage ever platinum it.
I think you could.
Really?
I think you could get to that stage. But I think the other thing that I really like about it, and we've probably not really mentioned, is just some of the silly designs of each of the levels. Like whether it's a pineapple, or if it's a strawberry, or it's a bee, or it's like a robot, or just all these random little things, and like just the mind that come up from these 3 guys at Pixel Magnet that have made this game. And you're just like, what a good job they've done.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing anyone talk about it at all. Like, I've had a little Google around for reviews. There's like no reviews for it whatsoever. And I just think it's one of those, you know, we talk about like VR, like wow experiences all the time. This isn't that, but it's like, this is a cool game that just couldn't exist in any other, obviously. You know, Brick Breaker games exist and have existed for decades, but in this way, you can't explain it. You can't really feel the game until you play it. It's really, really, really good. And Laurie, I think you were wrong.
I never said I didn't think it was a good game. I said I never heard of the game. I said I heard of the game. I never heard of the game, which is true. And I think it's.
Wasn't technically
part
true.
Of the problem that is this has been so much coming out recently for it, just struggling. I mean, there are games that are getting lost, so I hope we can do the game a service of getting it out there. And I know some of the people on our Discord have also been listening to Pod the last few weeks and listened to Alex talking about it, and have given it a go, and they've also been enjoying it as well. So yeah, for anyone listening, I know there's many people now that listen to the pod, which is brilliant. Please just try the demo of this game and have a punt on the £12, because it is just it's such a simple yet fun, and it's such a brilliant arcade game. A really great demo of what the headset can do.
You will lose time to this game. You will, like, absolutely will.
Yeah, it does disappear.
It's one of those that hours just disappear and you haven't even realised.
Have we actually said the name of the game during this whole spiel?
Yeah, we started. We did. We definitely did.
Masternoid.
Doing that annoying podcast thing where someone tunes out and they're like, what are they talking about again? Play Masternoid.
Already opened it up with the name, but yes, play Masternoid.
People should play Masternoid. Yeah.
What would be great
you have genuinely made me happy. Like, genuinely. Like,
no, that's good.
You made me happy. You know, and I gave you stick for the last few weeks about it, and we were just winding you up. I do listen to when you recommend games, and we do I do eventually get around to playing them, and you absolutely were right on this one. I'm very much glad that you've got this all on our radars, and hopefully a lot of our audience's radars as well. So yeah, well done.
Good work,
well done, Alex.
Good work, Alex.
Yeah, doff my cap to you. Oh yeah, okay.
There we go. Doff.
That was a long intro to the show.
But a very good one.
Yeah. So what is about the rest of the show?
We've got another 40 minutes to kill.
Yeah, no, we're 40 minutes. We've got a very packed news week, actually. Well, I think we've just got plenty of news to be getting through, so we'll talk about that. Yeah. Big chunk of it was the Perp Games Summer Showcase. So we'll talk about that as well. Maybe that could be the main topic. Certainly, what I've been playing is going to be things that we're going to pick up on the news. So let's just go through that. And if we've got any time at the end, maybe you two can let us know what else you've been playing. But I just know it's lots of Masternoid that you've both been playing. So
sounds good.
If there's anything else though. So let's start off with the news. This came in last week, but last week's episode we were just too busy trying to argue about the order we should plonk our games in. But Synth Riders had a free new update with 5 new tracks and also 5 new paid DLC tracks that could be bought. This came out about a week or so ago to people listening to this. I think some of the stages as well have been remixed and updated as well. But yeah, I have jumped back into the game following this update landing and played the new tracks. And yeah, they are really good. New tracks, very catchy songs, enjoyable to listen to, enjoyable to play along to. It'd be nice, good excuse to go back into it. Haven't played it for about a month or so. I hadn't played it. So just to jump back into it and play those new games for free was very enjoyable. So yeah, I would recommend anyone that has picked up Synth Riders before jump into this update. 'Cause 5 new tracks, they're worth playing through. I think the game itself is on sale. I think it's 40% off at the moment. Or at least it was a week or so ago. I don't know if it still is, but
yeah, I think it still is. Yeah.
So yeah, worth go. And I say, it didn't quite make our top 10, did it? But certainly would have done if you'd have asked me.
Yeah, definitely it was in the conversation. It was amongst those games that were very, very close to the top. And rightly so. And I think, what was it? So this is to celebrate the 5th year.
5th anniversary, I think it is, yeah.
Pretty cool. So yeah, 5 new tracks. They look good. Of the 5 paid ones, I think one of them is a remix of Blue Monday. Yeah. Which is supposed to be quite a good remix. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know synthwave artists, but I've had a little look at like some of the reviews and stuff of this DLC, and everyone seems to be pretty happy with the quality of it. But yeah, it's what a great game update. To be adding to it 5 years down the line is incredible. So yeah, if now's the time to get it if you haven't got it yet, definitely.
Yeah, it's probably one that's had another kind of PSVR2 to an extent, it's given it a new lease of life. Which is good to see. And good to see it still going. And as I say, it's highly commended by us. Like we've all enjoyed that game. It just didn't quite make that list, but it doesn't mean it's not worthy of your time.
No, you don't have to apologise for games that didn't quite make the list.
Well, there are so many good games, and just because a game didn't make our list doesn't mean that it's not really excellent, good game. We all fought hard for games that didn't quite make it, but that's just shows the strength of the PSVR2's library. But yeah, when I played Synth Riders the other night, it just has this effect on me. It just leaves me feeling it's such a sort of good, uplifted mode. I think it's just that kind of a little bit of exercise. It always makes you feel good, but just with the music as well, it's just always really kind of uplifting soundtrack. And I don't know. It kind of it's one of those games that you say like good for kind of mental health and stuff. It feels like that sort of game. It just kind of really sort of helps. Clear your kind of mind of any kind of shit going on, and you can just get into a really kind of fun, satisfying, feel good state. As I say, just when you just gets you dancing and just makes you feel good.
Yeah, you switch off your kind of thinking brain and just activate your doing brain.
Yeah,
which we all need to do now and again.
Yeah, it's probably maybe that's a topic for when we talk about VR and kind of mental health. It's probably. VR in general is just kind of good for that because it is so the way it kind of focuses and gets rid of all your distractions. You're not picking up phone looking at bloody Twitter again or whatever it is, or getting phone buzzing and stuff, because you are fully in that. It's just very good for focusing your mind in a way that kind of like you can do like I know there are on the Quest there's lots of like meditation apps and things you can do, like mindfulness stuff. I don't know if there's anything like that.
I think there is a couple of things on the VR2 store, maybe not quite that, but there are some kind of slightly different not games as such, but they are sold as games to do.
Yeah, I mean, Kayak VR for me is like that as well. It just puts kind of meditation. I think I've said that before when I've talked about that game. For me, it's just mindfulness.
It's a good point, and I do think there's this is a whole other topic there, isn't there? But I do think for that like flow state, even getting back to Masternoid, like I almost have to remind myself to blink. Like it just takes over every element of your concentration. Like you're not thinking about anything else other than like, where's that circle? Okay, shoot, bang, 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 and that's
it's like before your eyes.
It is much like before your eyes. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, well, maybe we can.
That's a future topic.
Yeah, future topic. We can talk about our Zen flow state games. Good. Well, Synth Riders. Give it a go. Next up, the Switchback VR patch, which has been hyped up and talked about for a fair amount of time now by Supermassive Games, finally dropped on Friday the 21st of July, which is today as we are recording this podcast. But last week for those who are listening to this now. Big update. It's the sort of much promised update that's going to finally fix all of the visual and just loading times and all the kind of blurry visuals and some of the taking on board some of the feedback about how when you shoot enemies there's no kind of feedback or no visual feedback or anything to indicate they've actually been hit and stuff like that. And so it seems like they've taken on board a lot of the comments, made some big changes, and looking forward to finally now giving this game a go.
Yeah, I think I just hope it's fine. It's a shame that this isn't the state that the game launched in. I think it's, but at least as we are all going to have a go at it and at least taking it from fresh eyes, and we can judge it as if this is how it launched to us, and I think that is how we will approach it. But you just wish like games like this had just taken that wee bit more time, because it really has tarnished the launch, and you just
they didn't need to come out so soon.
They didn't.
I think the problem they've got now is all the big outlets have already reviewed it. So I think like Push Square gave it like a 4 out of 10 when it first came out.
That's bad,
which is like pretty damning. But if this fixes it, we will play it, let's say, over the course of the next week and be able to give a decent, fresh opinion on it that isn't tarnished by that initial. It's almost like Cyberpunk all over again. Like,
that's what I was thinking.
Would have just waited and so I mean, stay tuned for next week for our opinions. But this was one we were all relatively hyped for, wasn't it? Right at the start. And it was literally those reviews from the big outlets that put us off. So now that it's hopefully got a fresh lick of paint and a bit more TLC applied, then hopefully it'll be the finished article.
Yeah. In terms of the actual patch notes, I've got like the TLDR here. I'm not going to through the huge list that there is, but it's an improved visual quality by adding foveated rendering FSR and enable TAA at 60 FPS. I don't know what TAA is. Do either you know what TAA is? No. Someone tell us. Optimization for improved performance, including removal of texture popping and blurring, improved lighting, visual effects, decals, models and textures of environments throughout the game to enhance the overall player experience. Several enemies have updated textures, animations, pathing and improved dynamic hit reactions and reduced loading times. So all of that sounds positive. We'll see. There's a huge list of fixes and improvements. Like, it's pages and pages long when you actually look at the proper release notes, patch notes.
So it came out originally 16th of March, so 4 months basically of extra work on it. And in the grand scheme of video game development, which takes years, you just think, like, sake of that 4 months extra, it would have had such a bigger impact. Now it would have given Sony another 4 months worth to push it out. It's like, things like adding foveated rendering. That's what we hear about as like a core feature. It's like, why that wasn't there at launch? It's just baffling, really. Just really.
I think they
really
wanted to get it out in that launch window.
Yeah.
Which, fair play, I think. The only thing that gives me a slight amount of hesitation is I was watching Digital Foundry, and they were talking about this patch and saying, I think John Linneman was saying about. What did you say? FS. What's
FSR?
I don't know.
FSR?
We're not a technical podcast. FSR, I think it was, but he was saying like, if that's what they're using, I don't know what the options are on that front, but I know they kind of winced at that. And TAA, here we go, is temporal anti-aliasing. An advanced anti-aliasing technique where frames are accumulated over time in a history buffer to be used in there.
All of this stuff is utterly meaningless. Like, just play the game and we'll see. Does it look
good?
Does
is
it
it
look
fun? Yeah.
Listen next week and we'll tell you.
Does it look as good as Synapse? That's my
That's the bar
in terms of the sort of sharpness, or does it look as good as Hubris? That's the bar that it needs to look like now. No chance. Okay, well, we'll come back with our thoughts on that next week. So let's move on and talk about Walkabout Mini Golf. Has had a new course DLC been released, Laser Lair. And Alex, you played it. I've played it. Ben, have you played it yet?
I have not played it yet, no.
Very, very, very good.
Right, okay. Alex and I have played it, and it is really good, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, it's got that. They've really nailed that kind of spy-like feeling to it. Like the music's really good, the setting's really good. Like on this little island, and then the whole addition of the lasers is just great. It just works. It really works.
It's clever because the theme of it, they absolutely nailed that Bond villain lair, that kind of Blofeld sort of 60s 70s Bond style of kind of the evil mastermind with the evil cat on his lap. Is that whole kind of vibe. There's even a shark in a shark tank that's there, so it almost kind of has that spoof, well, it is very spoof vibe to it as well. But so there's lasers everywhere, which is kind of, again, very Bond, that scene in Bond ways, getting the laser. But it does really change the gameplay up in a really cool way as well. And it's really funny when you try to hit the ball and then the laser's like, nope.
Yeah.
And your ball just kind of explodes and disintegrates all over the floor. It's comical. And I can imagine playing it as a group. It just would be hilarious watching someone getting their ball lasered over and over again. I can imagine Ben's frustration would be a joy to behold.
Yeah. I played it with Phil too. Off our Discord last night.
That's nice. I was going to play it with someone, but they didn't show up, Alex, when I was there. I was waiting for it. So I played it on my own. So
sorry.
Thank you, Alex.
Sorry. I ate too much food and fell asleep. I apologise.
You fell asleep rather than you ate too much curry and you fell asleep.
Yeah,
thanks.
But yeah, me and Phil too. Sorry, just we have mentioned before, but there seems to be a high percentage of Phils who like PSVR2.
Any other Phils to listen to the show that haven't made themselves known yet, please do. Exclusive
just
group
shove
of
Phil
super fans.
further down the list. But yeah, it was just funny watching someone else, as you say, like just and it's very easy to be one of those courses where you're just hitting a shot 7-8 times and exceeding your score limit. Like it was so easily done. But it's like some of the cool little touches of it in it. So there's a lift, and you can go in the lift, and you go up down the lift, and you're just like, this is quite fun. There's an inflatable shark that you can ride.
I didn't you could ride it.
You can go on the inflatable shark, and then the rubber rings.
Did you get a hole in one on the last course?
No,
yes,
actually, I did. I did the second time. So I have played it twice. So, but some of the designs of the courses, like the holes, are really good. Like, see when you get like. I don't know which one it is, but it's like it's almost a little ridged, but you need to basically swerve the ball round the lasers, and the lasers don't turn off. But it's all like it's almost like lanes to the hole, and you just need to hit. If you hit it perfectly, it goes all the way around. It's just so well done. I think these guys don't deserve the credit. Don't get the credit they deserve. Sorry, they do. They do deserve the credit.
We know what you meant.
Because they're firing these courses out every 6 weeks. Everyone is very slightly different. Yeah, it's great. So good. Such a fun game. And
it's so good because the original game, it's got a bunch of great courses, but these DLC ones are just so imaginative and so out there. They're well worth the sort of £2 or £3 they charge for them. I think they're so much fun. Yeah. And again, remember, if one of the people you're playing in a group with has it, then you can all play on the course, which is, it makes it really good. Easy.
It turns out if you don't own it, you can't collect the balls from it, though. We worked out last night.
Oh.
You can find them and point it to other people, but you can't collect the balls from them.
That kind of makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to try the fox hunt on this one, because it is written by, like, I'm not sure who the guy is, to be honest. I apologise for not knowing who you are, but it's written by someone who writes like these different kind of stories. So like the it's almost a spy thriller for the fox hunt to get the club on this one as well. So I think that should be pretty good. I haven't done that yet, but I'd imagine it's really entertaining.
Well, I'll certainly be up for trying it if we can get a group of us together for that. Definitely. Very cool.
Cool. Right, next up then, which is probably the main bit of news then for the show, is the Perp Games Showcase, which once again had a bunch of new updates for several games that are coming to PSVR2 in coming months or early 24. What do you want to do, Jap? Should we just run through them all one at a time?
Yeah.
Happy to
Chronological.
Do it. Well, I don't know if this is actually the order. The order that I am looking them at from Upload VR, which is a great website for people that want to read up about VR news. Could recommend reading their stuff. Very useful for putting the show together.
Thanks, guys. Not a sponsor.
No. Well, I mean, people should go check out. They're into VR. It's probably one of the best VR-focused websites out there that people can read stories on. So,
agreed.
So we've got Vertigo 2, first of all, which is kind of the main headline piece of news, which was a port of the game coming out later this year. This is a kind of Half-Life inspired first-person shooter. Looks very, very good, story-driven. Looks apparently kind of a bit like Half-Life Alyx, so we don't think we're going to get Half-Life Alyx, so this may be the next best thing. I always get a bit like when these sequel games, this second entry in the series comes out, like Red Matter 2, I'm like, well, hold on a minute, when are we going to play Red Matter 1 first? I need to know what's happening with this story, like Fisherman's Tale and this, and now Vertigo 2. It makes me paranoid that I'm going to miss some important backstory and stuff, so yet again we're jumping in at Vertigo 2. But yeah, it looks really good, and it looks like they are really updating it, and it's adding lots of stuff which is also going to come to the PC version of it. It's going to have a level editor which looks really quite good, like really detailed, like you can make your own levels and scenarios and enemies. It kind of looks like they just kind of whacked in Mario Maker in the middle of this Half-Life style game. It's like, fair play. And I think it's just the work of like a one-man team basically that makes this game, which I just cannot get my head around, and I think it's like, surely that can't be true.
It looks superb. Like I love the style of it. I think quite often with these kind of first-person shooters, I think I'll speak for myself. I'm put off by the more realistic, like military-looking ones. This one looks more cartoony, more stylized. It looks a lot more approachable. And even the stuff that they showed in the trailer, where I think they said that once you've finished a run, you unlock new characters, which basically play completely differently. Yeah. And all of them look fun in different ways, which looks like they would just change the game entirely. The developer that was talking on the trailer said, "Oh, and you can play this as a boomer shooter." I find that term offensive, but I mean, he looked about 12, so it's fine. We'll let him off. But yeah, like it looks cool. Like the fact that the game almost changes completely, and you can play it as a different style of game entirely.
Yeah, and like again, cool. They're not just like new skins. Like one of the characters is like a drone that you can play it. It's playing through as a drone, and it's completely it's a different. The game feels completely different to play, and I guess some of them will be better and some will be worse. But yeah, it just seems really impressive that they're bringing a port along and adding all this extra stuff to it. I mean, the level maker just seems on its own incredible. Yeah. Like
I'm really keen to see how this one. And I think it's coming out this year, isn't it, as well?
It's later.
Most of these are actually, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
But yeah, I love this, and this is a trend that obviously people that have been playing VR for years will just know these games. But there's games like this that weren't on my radar at all, and they say, "Oh, this is one of the best kind of PC VR games that have been out the last few years." I haven't been. It's not like I've gone back and done my homework and found out what games I haven't even heard of yet. I just kind of wait for them to be announced and then kind of, this it's nice surprises. I'm not going through and trawling what are the best games on PC VR that I've never heard of that I can then pine for and wish that I could play someday. So it's just great that all these new games that it's just kind of the cream of VR today is being enhanced and brought over to PSVR2. It's just like feels just these constant treats of really well regarded good games that I didn't even know about. I was like, I get to play that. Great. It's really, it's really nice.
Yeah. Good position to be in.
Okay. So first, there was a new trailer for Pumata. Are you playing it? How are you saying that? kind of horror.
Is it Pneumata? I don't know.
Pneumata?
Like that. Yeah.
I don't know. Pneumata. Another psychological survival horror game that I confidently predict none of us will play. Is that fair to say?
No, we still need to find that horror correspondent, don't we?
Yeah, I think I might just convert myself to horror correspondent. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think you're the one that's made for that.
I'm most likely to be converted, although I have had a couple of beers, so it could just be Dutch courage.
Oh well, we've signed you up now.
That's it. Well, I mean, you've got Resident Evil, so just let's start there and see how you get with that.
I can do anything.
Next up there was Tennis on Court, which is a stupid name for a game. Tennis on Court, I don't.
Give it a decent name. Come on.
That's a
I'm not playing
stupid
this.
name for a game.
Move on.
Silly name.
No,
I'll play this. It looks fun.
What would you call it, Laurie, if you could name a tennis
I
game?
don't know, like Tennis Smash or something. Tennis on Court. Like,
Smash Tennis already
where
exists.
else is it going to be played? We play Tennis on Court, and especially because it's like ultra realistic. I don't know. It's just kind of a boring name, and it's just a boring version of tennis compared to like
Don't
C-Smash.
criticise unless you've got better ideas yourself. That's what I say.
Well, I actually do have an idea for a really fucking good tennis game. I'm not going to tell you what it is though, because you'll steal it and make it yourself. All right.
Me and Ben, we'll just go and get that TAA and the FRS and FP,
Exactly.
whatever, FSR, and we'll code it in some
are you
coding
talking
language. And
Expiring.
From Switchback. Okay.
I think, shit name aside, this looks decent.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very kind of realistic tennis sim, which is cool.
The only thing for me,
it's just showing some new modes to it. You can do 1v1 and 2v2 online matches, bots as well, AI matches to play against. So that would be good. Help.
My only quibble or qualm or query,
Quibble or qualm,
some sort
whichever.
of Q word,
Some Q.
is what is the locomotion like as you're moving across the court? Are you using the stick?
I'm doing the locomotion.
How are you doing it? How are you going
every week, Alex, to sing a line of something?
Come on, baby, do the locomotion.
How are you going? How are you going to get? If someone does a drop shot, are you pushing forward on the stick, or is that automatic? I need to know
how long is it going to take
that's
if I
going to work.
Smash my lampshade in the living room.
Exactly.
Is that what you're asking?
That is the ultimate question, because I think that could become a little bit fiddly, a bit cumbersome, or potentially fatal. Interested to see how that works out.
Yeah, because that's why. Cast your mind back to Wii Tennis. It was the only Wii game I think I've ever played. It works so well because your character just your little
moves about.
Yeah, he just runs for you, doesn't he? So all you have to do is worry about swinging the racket, and he moves around. So maybe it's like that. Maybe he just manoeuvres you into position, ready for you to just focus on swinging. Because you're right. If you're having to scroll left or right or do the teleport, you can't just do that at the same time as trying to line your shot up. It just wouldn't work, would it? Well, I'm sure it won't be long until we can find out, because it comes out.
We all just want to focus on
this
swinging.
summer. Which, I mean, we're in the summer now, aren't we? So it could be any time. Could be tomorrow. Who knows? Get ready.
Rackets at the ready.
There was a new trailer for VR Skater, which since the showcase was also then announced that it was having a delay. It's it should have been out today, 21st of July. It's been delayed to the 4th of August.
Yeah, it had some certification issues. So it was, I think, trophies. I think it was actually trophies they had some issues with. So they said they could have put it out. They could have put it out
could have done
with the day one patch, but they wanted to fully test it to make sure it was all fine. So they just chose to push it back 2 weeks. Anyway, so which I think is the right thing to do if you're having those issues. And they said that PlayStation had been really good in terms of dealing with the certification and stuff, and they know what they had to do and they fixed it, but they just need to test it.
Yeah, well, maybe they've learned a lesson from Switchback, because there seems to be a bit of a buzz about this game. I know we've just looked at it and think, oh my god, I can't imagine playing this and not being sick. But there seems to be quite a lot of hype building for this game amongst people. It's one of the games that I see talked about, and the people that, the VR people that I follow on Twitter, and not so just casual kind of VR gamers, a lot of people seem to have this on their radar. So.
And if Perp Games are listening, like, we wouldn't mind some of those little fingerboards that you've been sending to people, because they look quite cool. I mean, I'd like one, please. Thanks. I've been sending little finger skateboards to all these other VR channels. So, I mean, like, what about us?
Wow. Yeah, we should try and get someone from Perp Games on, because they make loads of bloody VR games, don't they?
Yeah. But this game's it's one I just cannot. I can't visualize it. I can't or envisage. Just maybe a better way of putting it. How this game plays, like
no.
Even, and I know we say this thing about VR all the time. It's hard to describe, but I just can't even for everything else that I've played. I can't imagine being on a skateboard in VR, like in the way this shows in the trailer. Like, so it'll be interesting to see once it does come out and see what reception it gets. But you see, there is quite a buzz for it, and like in that trailer they had like professional skateboarders playing it, and I mean I know you can't maybe completely trust what these guys are saying coming off of this kind of thing, but they seem to enjoy it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, you're right. It's a marketing video from. Yeah. They seem to enjoy it. Oh, maybe it must be brilliant then. They wouldn't lie in a marketing video, would they?
Marketing people are the most trustworthy people on earth. Definitely.
Yeah, well, we'll see as it's coming out very soon.
2
so
weeks.
A couple of weeks' time, we can be playing that one as well. Next up, there was not even a trailer really, for just a teaser for Madison VR, just a kind of weird eyeball and lots of creepy, horrible sounds around it. Another game that just is like, oh, look how freakish and gruesome and horrible this game's going to be, which I just think that's not how I want to spend the end of my day, just before I go to bed, just watching some really creepy weird shit. But that one's probably a bit further away because they're going to say we're going to get a first look at the gameplay on August the 21st. That's going to be coming out. We're getting a proper gameplay reveal in a month's time. So we'll see that next month. So probably looking at early 24 release on that one.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Decent.
Yep, not much to say about that one otherwise. Then Wanderer has been doing loads of updates on that one. There's been lots of stuff on their Twitter, and I think they've had another PlayStation blog post as well. PlayStation are definitely pushing this as kind of a big upcoming game. They're giving a lot of marketing time to this. Obviously, they're not publishing it the same way as some of the other stuff they've done, but they are definitely giving it a lot of focus, a bit like they did with Synapse, I guess. But yeah, so this just new trailer for the Wanderer, just talking about some of the details, the differences between the original PSVR version with the PSVR2 version. There's a physical edition being announced as well. It still looks really good, still looks really nice, still can't wait to give this one a go. It seems more and more like this is a full remake rather than just a port or anything. And it's weird that it must be one of the records for the quickest remake of a game ever, really. I don't know. I can't think of an example where games come out and then like a year or two later they've completely remade it.
So not that one, was it that game? It's the Roman Euros. Is it 13 or something, 12 or? And then they remade it, and the remake was awful, and then they remade it again. Because the remake was so bad.
Yeah. Third time, we're going to get this right. We're going to nail it this time. Trust me.
But yeah, other than that, no, I can't think of one. But I suppose that's just when you mention the physical there, I think that's one thing probably to mention about Perp, that they are very much a physical publisher. Like every game that they release has got a physical release, which I know a lot of people like. I don't think any of us have got a physical VR game, because I think you just like the ease of switching games. These kind of small games, you don't.
Yeah. Because you don't really faff around with discs when you've got the headset on. It's just quicker as well. The sorts of experiences just lend themselves to just jumping. You want to just jump in and out of games quickly, and on the PS5 it's just quick to just close a game and open a new one. It just having physical discs just slows that process down. I do buy physical games for big games, because we're going to sit down and play a game like God of War. I'll start playing that, and I'll play just exclusively that. I won't need to swap discs out. But these kind of VR games, I can jump between 2 or 3 of them, especially I'll play 10 minutes on Synth Riders and then I'll play 10 minutes on Walkabout. It's kind of nicer, quicker experiences.
Yeah, agreed.
And then finally there was a new trailer for Happy Funland, which looks quite fun. It's kind of more of a comic horror game. I don't know if you've watched this trailer, have any thoughts on it?
It looks pretty, I think it almost gives not quite Five Nights at Freddy's vibes,
I think that is it's almost that kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It looks interesting. It's probably one of the more likely to play horror games for me rather than any other ones. But yeah, again, I feel like they only showed, was it the Upload VR showcase? Was that the one that we had last month?
During the Summer Games Fest.
So it showed a bit. I think it was only there that we seen this. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember. So it was that was probably overall in terms of this showcase. I feel like they didn't really show us, like, there's some slightly different trailers, but it didn't feel that necessary other than the Vertigo 2 announcement. But I mean, it was good to see. I'm always happy to see these things. It's nice to see more about games, but it just felt a bit soon from when we've seen.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, the Upload VR one had a lot of the same games, and a lot of the games didn't really show a lot more new stuff, or they're just quite small, insignificant updates from what we'd already seen. So,
on the flip side, though, I do think it's because we got hit with so many new games during that whole spree in the summer. It is quite handy. Like, for me, I didn't pay that much attention to this game then, but watching the trailer now, I'm like, actually, this looks cool. The way that it's like a pastiche of Walt Disney, and it just looks quite funny as well as a little bit scary.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, I'm quite interested in this one. I think it's
does look cool.
Yeah, like it could be a bit of a sleeper hit.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about this kind of showcases, it's interesting to see, will Sony ever do another VR state of play showcase themselves? Because any game on that is being put on straight away is being put on quite obviously a huge platform in terms of marketing terms. So it'll be interesting to see if and when Sony do one again and which games feature in it.
Astro.
True.
Astro.
No.
Well, I think it would just be a bunch of third-party games again, and they'll just pick kind of the cream of the crop from the stuff that's being published out there by various publishers. As a little side note, why don't people make VR trailers? Because VR games, as we've discussed many times, they just look rubbish when they're not in VR. They don't look great on these flat screen trailers and stuff. I know they've got to make something in it, but you could have these trailers and these showcases like they are just to watch on YouTube, but why not have like a VR version of the trailer where you can just sit there and you kind of the view's locked and stuff, but you can see it watching in 3D. I don't know, there must be some way to make that work, and if you're recording it, it's a VR game, so you already got it in VR, so it's not like you're having to make a VR version of it. I don't know, it just seems like there'd be such a better way to trailer these games, and if there was a kind of a VR state of play that I could jump into on the headset itself and watch stuff as it's meant to be viewed in VR, it would just be a lot more appealing.
I think you should go and pitch that to Sony.
Yeah,
they listen to the show. They listen.
Between that and the new name for the tennis game, I think you're sitting on a goldmine here, son.
I'm on fire tonight, yeah.
Massively. You need one more good idea for the hat trick.
Okay.
No pressure.
Well, actually, I do have an idea. It's about Masternoid, actually, because my son was playing it, and it was it's too fast for him. So I need to ask the developers nicely if they could just introduce a mode that maybe you can disable the scoring, so it's just more of a kind of a fun, safe kind of gentle mode, that so my son could play it, because he was playing it and he never got to have the multi-ball, and when I played it he was like, whoa, you're so good at this, and I'm like, really, I'm not, I'm pretty shit, but compared to what he wasn't really able to get up to even having like two balls in go at one time and stuff, and when the music kicks in and stuff, and I think he was just a bit kind of gutted he wasn't quick enough to be able to keep up with it, and I'm sure with practice he can get there, but it just shocked me that it would be nice to have a kind of more of a beginner's or just like a kids mode on it that they could enjoy it without the pressure. Just slow the ball down so he's got more time to return it would be good. Or like there is in the practice mode where it doesn't come out of you can't lose, basically. It'll stop when it gets near you and you can get as much time as you need to line up the shot.
You can ask them next week.
Good call.
Yeah. Play Masternoid.
Yes, play Masternoid.
Book in the show with another little chat about Masternoid.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be that's my third idea of the night. Good. Well, that was also the Perp Games Showcase. Just a little aside. That's all we had to say about that one. Do you have guys? Well, have you guys been playing anything else?
No, a little bit more.
100% Masternoid.
Yeah,
that's it for me.
No,
Masternoid walkabout and a little bits of naps. That's been it for me this week. I was on holiday, so I haven't had a lot of time.
A little bit of synapse.
A little bit of synapse. Enjoying that hugely, as always. Thoroughly deserving of its high spot on our list.
Good. Right, well, we can wrap up now on time for once, because you try and get this in at a good around the 45-minute mark. So yeah, Perfect. Just before we finish up, I would like to say to everyone, thanks for listening. And if you'd like to support us, please give the podcast a sub on the service you're using, and please leave us a review too. Do follow us on Twitter at CrossButtonVR, and please retweet us every time you see one of our tweets. It does help. Also follow at the Crossplayers, and if you really like to show the love, you can do so at patreon.com/thecrossplayers. £2 a month. You can join and help us produce the show and gain entry into our WhatsApp group. So yeah, thanks again for listening. If you've enjoyed this, please say hi, please get in touch, let us know. Let us know if you'd like any other topics you'd like us to suggest to talk about. Always good to hear people's ideas, or if you've got any questions you'd like us to answer on the show, please do let us know. Yeah, last but not least, a huge thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the work we do. I've been your host, Laurie. These two have been Ben and Alex. Ben and Alex, you got anything you'd like to say before we dial off?
No.
Don't
normally do this. This is throwing me right
put
off.
on the spot.
Love you, Phil, too.
No. Good. All right. Well, these two have been Ben and Alex, and we will see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.